Welcome to today's explainer, Claude Day 3, Reading the Unreadable. Come on in, shut the door, and take a seat. For the next few minutes, I want you to think of me as your senior partner. Listen, I've been doing this a long time, and I know exactly what it feels like to be a junior associate completely drowning in paperwork. Picture this, because I know you've lived it. It's Monday morning. You sit down at your desk, coffee in hand, and you open your inbox. Staring right back at you is a 47-page government contract that needs sign-off by Wednesday. Then, there's a 30-page industry report for a Thursday briefing. Oh, and an RFP, 62 pages of dense specifications, due in just 5 days. Throw in some buried policy document from 3 months ago, and suddenly you are staring down a wall of 170 pages of dense, highly technical reading. The clock is ticking, the anxiety is rising, and you know, deep down, you literally don't have the hours in the day to read every single word. And here is the harsh truth. When you're rushing through 170 pages, something is going to get skimmed. Something is going to get missed. A penalty clause, a hidden compliance requirement. And the cost of that oversight in our line of work, well, it can be absolutely disastrous. But take a breath. You don't have to do this manual drudgery anymore. We are going to let Claude read the unreadable. AI is going to replace those hours of exhausting manual review. And honestly, more importantly, it's going to protect this firm and your career from those missed clauses. Okay, let's dive into part 1. Analysis protects, summary fails. Before we get into the specific prompts we use, we really have to change how you think about AI and dense documents. See, most beginners think of Claude as just a summarization tool. You know, you paste in a document, ask for a summary, and it gives you one. But in our world, a generic summary is incredibly dangerous. A summary simply tells you what the document says, like the fact that it's a 12-month engagement with 30-day payment terms. Now, that's a convenient truth, and yes, it's accurate. But an analysis tells you what the document actually means. An analysis digs underneath the surface and finds, say, the automatic renewal clause hiding in Section 11 that activates unless we give notice 90 days in advance, which, by the way, happens to be next month. So the summary is accurate, but the analysis is actionable. Only one of these protects you, and today you're learning exactly how to ask for that analysis. So to get that analysis, you need to know how to properly hand these documents over to Claude. For most documents under 50,000 words, honestly, just copy and paste the text directly. If it's longer or heavily formatted, go ahead and upload the PDF or Word file. And if it's a standard contract or maybe a regulatory framework we use constantly, use the projects feature so Claude remembers it for future conversations. But whatever method you end up using, the absolutely crucial point is this. Always start your prompt with the instruction, read the complete document before you respond. Claude processes sequentially, right? So that one simple phrase prevents a partial analysis and dramatically improves the accuracy of what you get back. Moving on to part 2. First magic, extract only. All right, now we get to the really good stuff. I'm going to give you 3 power phrases that will completely transform how you handle dense paperwork. Let's start with your ultimate antidote to information overload, extract only. When you have a massive document, you do not want a generic summary of everything. You want specific, decision-ready intelligence. Extract only tells Claude to filter ruthlessly. It just ignores all the fluff and surfaces exactly what you asked for. And the more specifically you define what you want, the more surgically precise the output becomes. Just imagine that 60-page contract sitting on your desk. You tell Claude, extract only payment terms, termination clauses, and automatic renewal provisions. Now, I want you to visualize all 60 pages of that dense legal jargon just completely fading away into the background, leaving only these specific, vital terms glowing on your screen in a neat numbered list. You have literally just turned a 90-minute, eye-straining manual review into a 90-second surgical strike. It's an absolute game changer. This brings us to part 3, second magic, flag hidden risks. So, extraction handles what we know we need to look for. But let's be real. The most dangerous content in any document is the stuff you weren't actively looking for. That brings us to our second power phrase, flag anything that. Basically, you are asking Claude to scan for dangerous content, anomalies, and hidden traps. It's exactly like having a senior specialist reviewer right there with you, someone who has seen hundreds of these contracts and knows exactly what problematic, one-sided language looks like, reading the document right alongside you. And we can get incredibly specific with our paranoia here. You tell Claude, flag anything that gives unilateral rights to change pricing or imposes disproportionate penalties. Imagine scanning that huge 60-page wall of text, and suddenly a really dangerous indemnity clause buried way down in the fine print of an appendix just lights up in stark red. Claude quotes the language, tells you the exact clause number, and then explains in plain English why it's a trap. It essentially saves you from a massive oversight that could have cost the firm millions. Let's move to part 4. Third magic, compare versions. Let's talk about how to handle the single most exhausting manual task we do as professionals, reviewing revised documents. Opposing counsel sends back a revised contract. You know the pain, right? You read version A, try desperately to hold it in your working memory, and then you read version B just hoping you spot the subtle, deliberately buried changes. It's a huge blind spot. Well, that's exactly where Compare This To comes in. You just paste both versions, clearly labeled, and ask Claude to generate a precise, structured difference analysis. And the output? It is beautifully structured. Picture a split-screen visual right on your monitor, version A on the left, version B on the right. And right down the middle, Claude neatly categorizes every single change into clear buckets: neutral, favorable to us, or dangerous. It tells you exactly what was removed and what brand new sneaky clauses were snuck in. What used to be a 2-hour exhausting compliance review literally becomes a 5-minute structured briefing. And finally, part 5, the single-page boardroom. Now, I want to guide you to the ultimate workflow, what I like to call the single-page boardroom. This is the approach expert users apply to any high-stakes document. It's basically a 3-step universal prompt. First, you run the extraction pass to pull the top 5 pieces of structured info. Second, the risk pass, scanning a whole text to flag anything unusual or one-sided. And third, the decision prompt, where you ask Claude to provide a 30-second executive summary and tell you the strategic next steps. You cap that whole prompt off by asking, what are the 3 most important things I need to resolve before I sign, and what specific questions should I ask? Think about how empowering this is. Instead of walking into the boardroom sweating because you only had time to skim a 60-page contract at midnight, you walk in confidently, holding just a single page containing a flawless 4-layer analysis. You have the essentials, you know the risk landscape, and you have the exact questions you need to ask the partners. I want you to prove this to yourself today. Take a real document from your desk right now, an RFP, a contract, whatever it is, and run that universal prompt. Just see what it surfaces for you in 60 seconds. And once you've mastered reading the unreadable, get ready, because in tomorrow's Explainer, we are taking Claude into Microsoft Excel to automate spreadsheet tasks that currently steal hours and hours of your week. But before we get to data and formulas, I want to leave you with this final thought as you look at that big stack of documents on your desk. Will you continue risking your career on what you might miss when you're skimming at midnight? Or will you let AI give you complete, structured certainty? The tools are right here. It's time to use them. See you in the next Explainer.